I'm Dr. Karen Huffer, and this segment of our Unlocking Justice series, I have a young man who has multiple disabilities who really wants to become a voice, particularly for persons suffering with Asperger's syndrome. Asperger's is on the autism spectrum disorders. It's high functioning. This young man's name is Chris. He's very intelligent, but he has the symptoms involved in the high end of the autism spectrum disorders. He also suffers from post-traumatic stress disorder and traumatic brain injury. Chris has been involved in a situation where he says he made a false confession. So I'm very interested as to how this comes about. How does someone make a false confession with all of the safeguards that should be in place for people accused of any kind of crime or wrongdoing? So anyway, I'm going to welcome Chris. I'm going to ask him a few questions, and then let's see if we can gain some insight into how false confessions can occur. So Chris, welcome.
Thank you.
You were accused of a crime, and you don't have to go into it all that far, but after you were accused, you were taken into a room with police, is that correct?
That is correct.
Was it a detective or a police officer?
There were multiple. There was one uniformed police officer, and then there were 3 detectives.
And in the span, how long were you there, do you think, being questioned?
I was there for probably about 4 hours.
And when you went in, were you in good shape? Were you sleep deprived? Were you comfortable?
I was quite far from good shape. I was terribly sleep deprived. I was on a sleeping pattern of anywhere from 45 minutes to 5 hours of sleep a day, on average being about 3 hours of sleep even after a 12-hour shift.
And what was the cause of you not getting rest?
My ex-wife would keep me awake.
Why did she wake you up all the time?
That I'm still trying to officially understand myself. She did give me a statement that she did not want to, quote, talk to walls, unquote. And then also we were expecting during the time until we did have my who is now 3 years old little girl, and she just never gave me the opportunity to get a full night's sleep.
She wanted companionship?
That or a conversation which never came.
So, you had a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And what were you accused of?
I was accused of child abuse.
And your baby was tiny when you were accused, right?
Yeah.
Now, during the time that you were accused, the detective that was questioning you, finally, described how you abused this baby. Is that correct? He showed you how you hit the baby, how you did certain things. Is that correct? He demonstrated it. And I saw the film. What interested me is you kept saying, I don't remember doing that. I'm trying to give you what you want, but I don't remember doing that. Do you remember on the film when you said those things?
Not really. It's very it's very difficult to remember anything around that point in time.
For that night. And it was a night.
For the entire time that I was in the apartment. Or in, living on our own with my ex-wife.
You don't have good memory of any of that. What
Not
about the
really.
night at the, did they question you at the hospital or the police station?
I do remember that. They questioned me both at the hospital and the police station.
What did you do to protect yourself when they began to question you? Did you know you could be in trouble?
I realized it.
Did you? And
I tried to tell the truth.
And what did you, and when you told the truth, what happened?
I really don't remember what he said, but in my opinion, he said just the basics of, that's nice. Don't tell me what I want to hear, but tell me what I want to hear.
So when you would tell him the truth, he would dismiss it
Yeah.
and tell you something else happened. Is that how it went?
Mm-hmm.
At what point did you just say, okay, what you say is what I'll say?
I asked for an attorney 5 times.
And what happened?
He just kept on going.
And they ignored your request for an attorney.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever ask for a mental health person to come?
I didn't know they were available.
Because when you suffer from TBI, PTSD, and Asperger's, you got your hands full when you're
Yeah.
in a situation like that, even though you're bright. You know that. How did they get you to do it, to say you did something you didn't do?
In my opinion, because I really don't remember, but at the end of the night, it was pretty much, I think, I'm not sure, I don't really remember. I mean, I know we had the audio, but it's been a while since I've heard it. But I believe it was somewhere around the lines of, look, we're not going anywhere until you give me what you really did.
And what you really did was what he said you really did, this the way he took it. And finally you agreed with him because you thought, because he said it will go easier on you, or just say what I'm telling you to say and then it will be over, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So what were your choices at that point?
Stay there or give in and get some rest.
And was the giving in and getting rest the most prevailing thought you had? You desperately needed the rest?
At the time it was, and at the time it seemed like the permanent decision. But when you really think about it, where you're going to be in the next few years, it begins a trail of destruction.
And so you felt that if you cooperated with him, it was the best way to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
So you agreed to what he said, even though it was a false confession. Now, I'm aware that you took a lie detector test afterward,
That's correct.
and you passed the lie detector test.
That's correct.
And several things have caused me to believe that you did not abuse your daughter. One of them being, and you were kept from her for how long that you could not see your daughter?
About 2 years.
So after about 2 years, you had a little supervised visitation, and then we basically have worked on reunification with you and your daughter, right?
Yeah.
Didn't take long, did it? Who's
Hi,
this?
sweetie pie.
So we have a pretty happy ending to a pretty tragic story. But we want to keep noticing misdiagnoses, false confessions. If law enforcement or courts make mistakes, they can be extremely serious mistakes.
Yeah.
Okay? All right, I think we're good.
Daddy loves you.